Good evening and welcome. Agenda for combined meeting, 5 p.m., December 7th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta. Ms. Fabry.
Here.
Mr. Fiocchi.
Here.
Mr. Holmes.
Here.
Mr. Rivera.
Here.
Mr. Sobrana.
Present.
Mr. Silva.
Here.
Mrs. Gottespati.
Present.
Ms. Spinelli.
Here. Thank you. In compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, commonly referred to as the Sunshine Law, the Vineland Board of Education has caused notice and posting of this meeting to be sent to the following: announcing time, place, agenda, etc. The Daily Journal, S&J Today, the Press of Atlantic City, Nuestra Comunidad, Visto Bueno, and the Clerk of the City of Vineland and the Administrative Office Public Bulletin. At this time, we will have the VHS JROTC Color Guard be present.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order! Colors! Right, haste! Forward, march!
John went down to hand out certificates.
If you want to come back up to the front of the stage, we have some certificates for you.
John.
My grandson was in junior Nazi in Delaware, and he wound up joining the Air Force and
I think it's a
going
great
through
program.
college with them for 2 years, and then when he gets out, they pay for the other 2 years.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great program.
Yeah. Is Tim in the military?
Yeah. Air Force.
Air Force, yeah.
And then he was in Air Force for a few years, and then he went into his defense. Then he was in Air Force with him.
Oh, yeah.
He left the Air Force because
So he's on 2 pensions. No, I meant police and, yeah, I don't know the military.
Thank you. Job well done. Scott, do we have a resolution for executive session?
We do. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City of Vineland School District will convene an executive session for the following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12. Discussion includes any pending litigation, job performance, and any matters fallen within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duties as a lawyer.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
I'm sorry, did you answer? Yes. Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Gottesbody? Ms. Spinelli? Motion carries.
We are not going to go into our executive session until the end of the meeting. Mr. Yano, do we have any special presentations this evening?
Yes, we do. We have the Vineland High School Select Choir, who will perform a holiday medley under the direction of Mrs. Cummins Huck, music teacher and choir director.
That was beautiful. That will really get you in the holiday spirits. Thank you. Mr. Holmes and Ms. Fabry are coming down with some certificates tonight for your performance. Thank you again. Moving along. Any questions or comments regarding the HIB report? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Any questions or comments regarding the approval of the minutes for November 2nd, 2022 combined meeting, November 2nd, 2022 executive session? Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Committee reports. Do I have any committee reports this evening, starting with Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes, the Finance Committee met Monday, December 5th at 8 a.m. via Google Meet. In attendance was Scott Mustarell, Mr. Rivera, Mr. Silva, Ms. Spinelli, and myself. Following topics were discussed: UAW negotiations, Winslow HVAC bid, update on fiscal year 24 budget, new bus quotes, Barcy HVAC project update, complete audit in which there was no findings, NSLP food equipment grant, new car wash shared service agreement with the city of Vineland, and as well, last thing was bus advertising. Thank you.
Any other committee reports this evening?
Yes. Policy and Personnel Committee met November 30th, 4:15 p.m. Present were Mr. Yano, Ms. Spinelli, Mr. Fiocchi, Mr. Sabrana, Dr. Sneven, Dr. Rossi, and myself. The committee discussed these policies and regulations. Policy 4216, dressing and grooming for support staff. Policy 3216, dressing and grooming for teaching staff. Policy 5512, HIB, was revised. Policy 5307, nursing services plan, was revised. The committee discussed these personnel matters: public information officer, audiovisual specialist, intra-bus accident at Rossi, counselor salary step, math supervisor, security guard hires, and clerical promotion. Transportation Committee met Wednesday, November 30th, 5:00 p.m. In attendance were Mr. Mustarell, Mr. Yano, Ms. Fabry, Mr. Rivera, Ms. Spinelli, Mr. Hall, Ms. Blakely, and Ms. Camara, and myself. We discussed the team concept, emergency plans, bus evacuations, stop finder trial continues, student finder cards, wayfinder, student requests for transportation, driver attendance, driver recap. We have 140 drivers budgeted, 136 route packages, which means drivers needed, 135 filled positions, 17 subs, 10 drivers in training, and we discussed the walking policy. The student request for transportation is a form that we've generated for parents to access to put in a request for the transportation department to review any issues that they might see if their students have to walk, so they'll be able to fill out that form and put in a request for it to be reviewed. Again, it's a request, and then the transportation department will decide what steps to take after that. Thank you.
Any other committee reports this evening? Mr. Rivera.
On Thursday, December 1st at 4:30 p.m., the Facilities Committee met via Google Meet. In attendance were Mr. Mustarell, Mr. Yano, Mr. Sobrana, Ms. Spinelli, Mr. Farinaccio, and myself. Among the topics that were discussed are, Mr. Farinaccio gave us an update on the projects that are being funded through ESSER, including the district-wide HVAC upgrades and district-wide window projects. He also updated us on Alyssa's Law and the grant, and the project that's going on with that, the district-wide camera project, the roofing, Rossi roofing project, and the overall budget assessment. Several questions were brought up in reference to the timeline of when we can get these projects done with the issues that we're having now with costs and the price of everything going up, is putting a slight delay or significant delays on the projects. Mr. Farinaccio reviewed the procedures regarding the quality single accountability continuum and the ongoing inspections with the county business administrator, Mr. Wayne Knight. The topic of Oak and Main School was brought up, and a request for an update of where that project stands, and we're still waiting on that. The creative achievement, Mr. Mustarell, noted a courtesy walkthrough was conducted at this site to see if it would fit a future pre-K facility, but it being too small and the square footage was not enough, so we decided to move on from the project. The relocation of the Youth Corps program, Mr. Mustarell and Mr. Yano spoke on future adjustments and the better use of that facility on the second floor at 1350 Southwest Boulevard. It was decided that space could be better used for professional development, and Youth Corps will be relocated to another location. The transportation walking policy was also discussed at the Facilities Committee, and that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Yano?
I would like everyone to join me for a moment of silence. We recently lost one of our bus drivers, trainers, Harry Slim. He worked with us for a few years. During that time, he touched many lives. He was known to be a hardworking, thoughtful man who cared about his job and about the students that he transported. He always had a kind word and was always saying something funny to his coworkers. He served as a trainer for the transportation department and took his job very seriously. He always talked about his daughter and new granddaughter. He was very proud of them and shared with everyone that would listen. He will be very missed. Please join me in this moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yano. Public meeting report by Board Solicitor.
Yes, just one item briefly. It seems to be a continued item of discussion regarding public comment at our board meetings. And I just wanted to mention to the board again and to the public, state law requires that a Board of Education or a city council set aside time at a public meeting for public comment. This Board of Education, I'm proud to say, implemented that policy years before they were required to do so. The Vineland Board of Education has always been transparent in that way and has permitted public comment, but now it's required by law. But public comment is just that. It's not a dialogue, it's not a question and answer period. It's an opportunity for the public to relay to the board and to the superintendent matters that are of concern of that particular individual or group. The reason for not exchanging thoughts or discussion and having a dialogue is that many times a board member or the superintendent is unaware that that particular question is going to be asked, and it needs to be researched, this needs to be conferred with administration, and then the superintendent or his designee would then get back to the person and provide the information and the answer to the questions. Board members are not involved in the day-to-day administration, so board members may not be equipped to engage in a dialogue because they're not aware of that particular answer. So public comment, as I said, is there so that the board and the superintendent are provided with areas of concern by the citizens and the public. So it's not an idea of stifling conversation.
Thank you. This evening, we have our Vineland High School class officers that are going to come up and give us an update.
Good afternoon. We have amazing things happening at VHS. Since we are approaching winter season, the school has been busy with the door decorating contest, and the winner will win a breakfast. December 15th, we are holding an annual X Factor, a talent show between all grades. Hopefully, the senior class wins. The classes of all the grades have been doing fundraisers and raising money and meeting their goals. Winter sports are starting, such as swim, track, and basketball. We have many boys running for Mr. Violent and can't wait to see who wins January 12th. Would like to also mention students receive color cards like red, gray, and white based off behavior, grades, and attendance. People who have red cards will be having a movie day tomorrow as a reward. The classes have also been creating new merchandise for our school to wear wonderful spirit wear such as. Thank you.
I believe that was Egypt Owens from Student Government and Aaliyah Williams, our VP for the class of 23.
Thank you, ladies. Okay, public comment on agenda items. Please limit yourself to 3 minutes. And Mr. Mustarella, do we have some slips?
Yes, John Wes Hughes with the Renaissance presentation.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you for having me speak. I've been a big advocate for the Renaissance program for the 15 years plus that I've worked at Vineland High School. I retired last year in 2021, and I've also worked for four decades in areas of public education and in many other capacities working with youth and children. And in that time, I found that one of the best programs to do that with is the Renaissance program. What it is, it's a student-driven program that they name the rewards and the incentives for good behavior, for good attendance, and for grades, of which we all have expectations of them. They name their reward and their incentives for completing this. The three levels of grade are A, B, or C. The expectations are exactly the same for all three-letter grades. They are rewarded on a marking period basis according to the grade they've attained and accomplishing the positivity of the behavior, the grades, and also the attendance. It is a program that not only involves the student, the teachers, the administration. It can be used to include different businesses and also the parents. The business could, for instance, could get involved by providing students with discounts at their place of business. For instance, movies, clothing places where students go. A students would be getting 15% discount. The B students would be getting a 10% discount. The C students would be getting a 5% discount. In exchange for the merchants and the businesses doing this, they would possibly be able to get free advertisement in the district publications, also in the district events that are sponsored. I believe that this would go a long way in addressing some of the challenges that face Vineland. The low morale, for instance, also the low testing scores that we've experienced for so long in Vineland for the state testing. Also, the problem of behaviors would be addressed. Also, the problem of the grades would increase, because what it is based on the student being rewarded. Too many times we discipline, and the students get tired of it. If we were to do that with our children without giving them anything, without allowing them choices, how would our children be? The students want a voice in what they are rewarded for doing. They want a voice and a reward for what they're supposed to be doing. And I think if we do that, we're going a long way to helping our district overcome a lot of problems that they have. But it has to be board mandated, and it has to be superintendent implemented for it to succeed. And it can't be a piecemeal thing that the district has had in the past, my 15 years in the past, where they only use part of it. It has to be fully implemented, and if it is, it can be done at a relatively low cost to the district on the spreadsheets. Previously, with Superintendent Gruccio, I talked to I think it was the controller,
Sir,
but
I'm sorry.
they said that it would be very implemented in the grading system that the district currently uses. In keeping track of it, it would be very cost efficient. And I think overall that it would be a positive asset in helping the district obtain increases in the areas of improvement that it would like to see. Thank you for
Okay.
this time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Scott?
Genesis Salas Munoz. School bullying.
My name is Genesis Salas. I am 13 years old. What is the purpose of school? It shouldn't make you worry about your safety, wondering what is going to happen while you're at school. On October 19, 20, and 24, while I was at school, I was assaulted by 4 girls, and I got a concussion by it. I was removed from that school, but what about those girls? They are the problem. Or are they just going to ignore the problem? I always learn to face the problems instead of avoiding it. Do you know how many people die from suicide every year from bullying? There are over 4,000 deaths from bullying. What are you going to do with bullying? Ignore it or do something about it? Do you know how many people don't say anything about them getting bullied or getting picked on? And they don't say anything because they're just scared or afraid. I try to wrap my thoughts of what was happened to me, and I cannot understand how I got to this place. I was removed from the school, while the same girls remain in the school, still doing the same acts they did to me. I feel as if I was as if I was the only one who was punished by their acts. I'm sharing this with you because I know bullying is not going to end in our schools. But what are you going to do about it? How to address it is your responsibility. I may be safe now since I'm in another school, but what is going to happen when I get to high school? When the very same girls are going to be there. It is bad enough that I have to think about what has happened to me since I was physically assaulted, and seeing my mother trying to address this and always worried if something worse is going to happen to me. It hurts to feel and see like my situation has been put under the rug. Thank you.
Thank you for presenting tonight. Thank you for your courage. Dr. Sneeden, can you please just check in before they leave tonight? Thank you.
Nelly Munez.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nelly Munoz, and I'm Genesis Sala's mom. And I asked this lady to translate for me.
My child, Genesis Salas, is in 8th grade and was attending Memorial Middle School. In the month of October, my daughter was bullied and physically assaulted by 4 girls. She was jumped for 3 days in a row. The first one was on a Thursday, the second on a Monday, and the third one on a Tuesday. This whole situation has been very devastating for my daughter as well as for me. I have seen how this has affected my child, has affected me and my family. It has been an awful ordeal dealing with the school's administration and police department. When this happened, I was told from the Board of Education that the only option I had was to transfer my daughter to another school. Since this is what they said, my only option for her safety was to transfer her, so that's what we did. So now I am trying my best to deal with what has happened to her and feeling like I am going around in circles. I don't know if you have children, but I wonder what you would do if this was ever to happen to your child. This has caused more stress since it was presented to me that the only option was to remove my daughter from Memorial School and place in Pillar School. Now I am responsible for transporting her to and from the school. Not only did I have to take her out of school, but now I am fully responsible for driving her to school and picking her up, because no transportation will be provided, and I don't understand. My daughter is suffering from a concussion due to the physical assaults. She was removed from the school. I have to struggle with transportation to and from the school, putting my job at risk, seeing doctors and paying out of my pocket, while the students who bullied my daughter only got 3 to 4 days suspension from school. I have been back and forth and have heard nothing from the anti-bullying coordinator, and I feel as if my daughter's case is not being addressed. As of today, my daughter has not been referred for counseling, treatment, or therapy according to the policy 5512, harassment, intimidation, and bullying under the target victim support section. As a parent, I want to express and say that the school system, the Vineland Board of Ed, is failing. All I ask is that you please revisit and review your policy and help my daughter. I need your help.
Thank you.
Vicki Miller.
Vicki Miller. I'm going to talk about sanitizing the school on break. People out sick is over and above. And also I'm going to talk about the buses being on time. In my class, they missed the first period. These are special ed children. They need that. So I know you're short buses, but we have to do something about it to get our children into school. Thank you.
All right, motions and resolutions. Superintendent recommendation, the first thing is the consent agenda. Mr. Yano.
Yes, okay. Requesting discussion and approval for personnel items 1.1 through 1.3. 1.1 being the approval of our personnel items, A, retirements, B, students, C, substitutes, D, extracurricular activities, and E, volunteers. 1.2, approval for all certificated staff to perform social, emotional learning instruction, tutoring, and counseling during out-of-school hours as appropriate. 1.3, resolution approving the memorandum of agreement between the City of Vineland Board of Education and the Vineland Association of School Psychologists effective July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2026, and authorizing the execution of a final agreement consistent with the same.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codespati?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Requesting discussion and approval regarding procedure and operations items 2.1 through 2.6. 2.1, approval of the following: trips, district travel, and winter track. 2.2, approval to waive the time requirements for review according to Policy 5512, bylaws and policies, and adopt the following policy: Policy 5512, harassment, intimidation, or bullying. 2.3, approval of the second reading of the following policies for discussion: Policy 7424, bed bugs; Policy 3432, sick leave. 2.4, approval of the first reading of the following policy for discussion: Policy 5307, nursing services plan, revised. 2.5, approval authorizing the board secretary to enter into a dual credit agreement with the College of New Jersey for the 22-23 school year at zero cost to the district. 2.6, approval of the fall bus evacuation drills completed in September, October, and November 2022 as per the list provided and on file with the board secretary.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes to all, abstain from 2.1.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sobrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Requesting approval and discussion of finance items 4.1 through 4.7. 4.1, approval of budgetary transfers for general, school-based, and ECPA for October of 2022. Approval of the 4.2, approval of the board secretary and treasurer reports for October. 4.3, approval of the placement of special education students. 4.4, approval of the submission of the following grant: young audiences, where students will have time to work with an artist at Vineland High School. 4.5, approval of the following grant application submission and acceptance from the state of New Jersey for Veterans Memorial Middle School as noted on our agenda. 4.6, approval of a resolution authorizing the following changes to the bank depositories for business check-in, savings, and investments: the athletic fund, budgetary, payroll agency, food service, payroll, unemployment, trust fund, flex spend, and capital reserve for the following time period: November 3rd through June 30th of 2023. 4.7, approval of the cancellation of outdated checks provided and on file with the Secretary of the Board.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion? Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes? Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sobrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti? Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Requesting discussion and approval regarding items 4.8 through 4.15. 4.8, approval of LSF funding participation for food service cooperative for the fiscal year of 23. 4.9, approval of the 2023-2024 annual preschool operation plan update. 4.10, approval of the projected 2023-2024 pre-kindergarten enrollment to the New Jersey Department of Education submitted on November 14th. 4.11, approval of submission and acceptance of the following grant funding through the New Jersey Department of Education, Division of Early Childhood Education for wraparound services, enhancement grants. 4.12, approval of Energy Power Pay Energy Program from November 16th through November 15th, 2023 for the electricity accounts on file with the Board Secretary. 4.13, approval of the following professional development with E3E Cubed, which will support staff with activities focused on ensuring equitable outcomes for all students in the amount of $4,000. 4.14, approval of a shared service agreement between the City of Vineland Board of Education and the City of Vineland for the use of the city automated wash bays for district vehicles in a form acceptable to the superintendent and the board solicitor. And 4.15, approval of the home instruction agreement between the City of Vineland Board of Education and Union County Educational Services Commission to provide home instruction for student ID number 1965474.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Requesting discussion and approval regarding finance items 4.16 to 4.22. 4.16, approval of the following contract for digital assessment and data analysis for the term of July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, with the option to renew 2 one-year terms or 1 two-year term for a maximum of a 3-year term. And this is an amendment for current and additional services. The amended contract amount for current and additional services is noted on our agenda. 4.17, approval of the acceptance of a donation by the Green Flag Committee at Motorsports Park of Millville, New Jersey, in accordance with policy 7230, gifts, grants, and donations for Barcy Durant and DePalato Elementary Schools. 4.18, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland Board of Education as the sending district and Elk Township Board of Education of Gloucester as the receiving district for one student. 4.19, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland Board of Education receiving district and Penns Grove Carneys Point Board of Education of Salem as the sending district for one student. 4.20, approval of the McKinney-Vento tuition contract between the City of Vineland Board of Education as the receiving district and Penns Grove Carneys Point Board of Education of Salem as the sending for one student, as noted on our agenda. 4.21, approval of the 2022-23 joint transportation agreement between Winslow Township Board of Education and the City of Vineland Board of Education in the amount of 100 per diem. And 4.22, approval of the Inspira Healthcare 36 bus advertisements for a 12-month term from January 1st through December 31st, 2023, in the amount of $11,962.08.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti? I'm sorry, Mrs. Codispoti? Yes. Thank you. Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on, regular agenda, none. Proposed items for review or discussion by board members? None. Approval of bills occurred in October 2022. Do I have any questions or comments?
Motion.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Fabry?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Emergent items with prior approval? None. Do we have any old business? None. Do we have any new business? Seeing none. Board member and superintendent remarks, starting with Mr. Rivera.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the JROTC for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd also like to thank the Select Choir for that beautiful rendition of White Christmas. I was waiting for more songs because it said medley, but I guess we only got one today. I'd like to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family of Harry Slim. The death of a loved one is never easy, and it's a difficult time, but I hope that his memory brings you peace to all his friends, his family, and his coworkers. I'd like to thank all the members of the public that spoke today, but I would like to in particular focus on Ms. Genesis. Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. What is the point of a policy if it has no teeth? What is the point of a policy if it's just words on paper. Anything that causes violence, anyone that causes violence in a public school setting, whether they're provoked or not, and I'm pretty sure she wasn't provoked, or she wasn't doing the provoking. On 3 separate occasions, those individuals should not be in that school. Now, I understand we have a policy that has several steps because we want to give individuals chances to make better choices. But when it comes to violence, it should be 0 tolerance. 0. I would hate to hear that my child was physically attacked 3 times in 1 week or in a span of 2 or 3 days. And not only this, I have a little bit of knowledge of this case. This stuff was also put on the internet. It will never come off. That's going to be on there forever. So this was not only a violent act, but it was predetermined, or they thought about this beforehand because they were ready with their cameras. Unacceptable. So we need to revisit our policy. We need to, because this cannot happen again. It should not happen again. I apologize to you, Hennessy's, because we failed you. I apologize to your mother, because we failed you. It should not have happened. On another note, I would like to wish everyone a peaceful, joyous, and blessed Christmas and holiday season with your loved ones and with your family. Here we are, another year that has gone. We've lost loved ones in this year. We've had great moments and we've had low moments in this year. But to those that are lucky enough to have family members around you and those that love you, embrace them. Hug them. Tell them you love them. Because tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Mr. Sobrana.
Yes, thank you to the JROTC Color Guard for presenting the colors tonight, and also to the VHS Select Choir. Their voices are so sweet and so clear. It's always a real joy just to hear them perform. And also to their talented and dedicated director, Lori Cummines-Huck. She's also an alumni of the Select Choir, performing with the group from 1988 to 1992. She was also the page turner for her mom, Pat, who was the accompanist to the choir, even further back under Dr. Luongo and Michael Testa. So that means Lori's been involved with the choir for 24 years and on the VHS stage for 40 years. And that's one of the things of which I'm most proud of when I sit on the stage. The many, many people who devote so many years of their lives for the interest and improvement of our community and our school district. As you heard tonight, we still have many challenges, but together I think we can meet them. So I also like to echo the words of my colleague here, wishing everyone a safe and a joyous and a satisfying holiday season and a healthy and productive new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sobrana. Mr. Silva.
Yes, I'd like to thank the JROTC for presenting the colors. To our selected choir, thank you for that beautiful rendition. My condolences to Harry Slim's family, and echoing the sentiments of my other board members in regards to what's happened to the young lady over at her school. It is completely unacceptable, and we have failed you. On another note, I would like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Mr. Fiocchi.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes, thank you to JROTC, and as an alumni of Select Choir, thank you for that beautiful rendition tonight. Obviously treading lightly in regards to the public comment discussed tonight about bullying, and Ms. Genesis, the young lady who spoke tonight, and her family. Just imagine how many channels she had to go through at the school level for it to get to this level tonight, and how many staff members had to hear about this and still not make any headway. I seriously want to discuss how our students are being disciplined, because the same issues occurring at VHS where kids have to be jumped and then see those students that jumped them 3 days later. We're missing something here in how we're handling these matters, and we should be discussing this further. In closing, happy holidays, and see you all next year.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Ms. Fabry.
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody that came out tonight for a special presentation. Genesis, thank you for standing here and not only advocating for yourself, but for your peers. That kind of courage is very contagious. To Mom, you asked what we would do as parents, and I would have done the same thing. So thank you for your courage. I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday and a happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Fabry. Ms. Cataspati.
I'd like to thank all of our speakers that came to speak tonight, our audience. Know that we are listening, and we do take everything that you say to heart, and it will be looked into. I want to thank our Junior Air Force ROTC for their presenting the colors tonight. To our choir, what a beautiful rendition of the song. Mr. Sobrana and I, we got to hear them at the tree lighting ceremony in Vineland, and they were awesome that night also. So thank you for representing our city and our school very well with the city. To our officers, thank you for coming out. Looking forward to seeing you at all of our board meetings again. We used to have that a few years ago, so I'm excited to hear just what's happening for your class, and I know you guys are just as excited. I'd like to wish my husband a happy birthday. I'm here, he's there, so. On a personal note, what Mr. Rivera said about embracing your loved ones during the holiday season and anytime, do that. Don't ever look a gift horse in the mouth. To everyone who reached out to me through the brief illness of my mom, her death recently, thank you. Your thoughts and prayers are so appreciated, you can't even imagine. And finally, I'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and a safe and Happy New Year. Enjoy your loved ones, please. Don't ever take them for granted. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ms. Cataspati. Mr. Yano.
Thank you. Just a quick few notes. Thank you to all of our students who attended this evening, our Air Force Junior ROTC, our VHS Select Choir, our student government representatives. Thank you for being here and always reminding us of why we do the work that we do. We had a great event at the high school where our 8th grade students were able to come in and able to experience all the great things that VHS has to offer, including performances by the band, the dance classes, the choir, the Junior ROTC, and Words of Wisdom from upperclassmen. The annual Vineland Millville Academic Bowl was held on November 19th and ended up in a tie. Both teams had impressive showings, and it was a battle until the end. We also hosted our first Portrait of a Graduate meeting on November 21st. A student meeting was held that morning, and the evening session was with the design team, and we looked at some critical in-depth areas that are affecting our children, and we look forward to the next meeting coming up soon. The annual Millville-Vineland Thanksgiving football game was exciting despite a loss. We had a great crowd come out to support and cheer on the team. This was the 151st meeting of the two teams and is the longest Thanksgiving game tradition in the state. November's Community Action Partnership meeting was held on the 29th with a large crowd. of gathered staff and community members in attendance. We had a guest speaker from the Vineland Public Library, Dr. Amberths, along with his staff, and a collaborative activity focused on a modified portrait of a graduate workshop. We also have great holiday activities coming up, including our Vineland High School winter concert on December 20th. I also would like to note, since it's been brought up a couple times regarding the issue of bullying, we as a school district take all types of bullying extremely seriously, from our teachers, our administrators, central office team. We are committed to providing the safest space possible. We just need to be very careful about not having the complete picture in front of us. There is some challenges at times that we can't comment on, but we are here to support and acknowledge the efforts and some of the challenges that our students face. I know Dr. Sneeden will be reaching out to the family directly. I believe she already has spoken with this family. We will contact the school to make sure that we're all on the same page. But nothing is ever as clean cut and straightforward as we would like to think it is. When students need discipline, we follow a code of conduct that was approved by this board, and in that code of conduct there are opportunities to restore your behavior, come back to school, participate, and discipline is also impacted by multiple variables. It's never just a straight shot of one discipline for all students. It's subjective to a variety of factors. So we can't discuss the exact specifics, but we know that we are supporting our students and doing the best every day. And I also want to say a quick thank you to the high school administrative team for being here in support of your students. Thank you, Principal DeMarchi, and I believe Ms. Rivera back there, or AP. Thank you for coming this evening. Have a wonderful holiday season. We're looking for a very positive and collaborative next few weeks as we head into the new school into the new school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody who came out tonight, all of our guests from the high school, our parents. Like Mr. Yanu said, Dr. Sneeden will be reaching out to you so that we can get the full story and hopefully be able to assist you in a little bit more. And on that note, I wish everybody happy holidays. It's going to be a great year. We definitely have our work cut out for us, but I truly believe the people up here are the best board and we are up for the challenge. So on that note, we are going to adjourn this meeting and go into executive session. Do I have a motion? Roll call, please. No roll call? All in favor?
Aye.